Greetings, fellow scouts. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to News Cycle, Episode 4, Exploring the Wasteland. The next mine shaft was copper. That's nice. It's good to have a copper node in the first mine we built. I'm actually going to turn off this mine. I don't need to power it up, so we're not using it just yet. But copper is going to be necessary in order to make wires for production and for construction. Another well for a water source. Barren land. All right, so the highlands are almost fully explored. There's coal, there's water. But this is what I mean, is that no one is working this watchtower. Yet I still benefit from the regional effects of working those watchtowers. And if I am not mistaken, it doesn't really matter if I employ people there or not. I don't know if it's a bug or an oversight, but let's actually try to employ people to see if the numbers change. So let's say in the highlands here, I actually put a workforce there for increased productivity. I don't believe that my awareness, my awareness doesn't change at all. So once I have like a well or a mine for the coal, extra workforce will increase the productivity, as will having a road or rail network, a supply of food, tools, and fuel. But supplying no workforce and no supplies whatsoever, you still get a trickle. Which means if you set up a giant, massive network of regional, like, structures, you get constant resources for nothing. Which is strange and probably needs to get patched and fixed, if you ask me. Okay, 10 children just became adults to work as workers, so that's a huge boon of people. So I'm going to employ them in the clay pits. Congratulations. It's not much of a promotion. And then, where's my other mushroom gatherer? Here? Yeah. And then I have one extra person who will become a craftsman if I can, because eventually I'm going to employ a craftsman in the basic mine. Actually, 2 of them. So I might as well start training them up now. Oh, water is full. Time to go to 6 digits. Hunting grounds. So the highlands are fully explored, and we'll just... I'll do like 5 regions or something like that. I don't want to go ridiculous because it is, in my opinion, like kind of easy to exploit. And this is what I'm saying that I don't find trade particularly useful, is like the things that you can buy typically are things that you have in high supply anyway. Every now and then it's really helpful when you have like some sort of food scarcity or something like that. Maybe you'll be able to buy raw food. The problem is, given that what the traders want to buy and the devaluation when you trade in bulk, you typically can't buy that much until your things are devalued. So it's like, oh, I'll buy 25 tools, but any more than 25 tools, and I'm not going to pay you I'm going to pay you, 5 cents on the dollar for them. Which means it's like, cool, well that means that there's a very limited amount of things that I can buy economically without dumping an insane amount of resources for very little in return. Ooh, we have some workers coming in. Alright, signs of living. Our settlement has begun to resemble a village. We're not a group of wanderers looking to scrape by anymore. Though it feels as though our new way of living means working constantly, we can't hope to endure a life like this too long. So, 1 day off per 9 days of work. What that does is increases the knowledge gain for all classes, so that we gain more knowledge. And it also increases morale for all classes by 5. But it does reduce the workforce of all classes by 15. Or, alternatively, no. And they will not be happy about this neglect as a result. Oops, there's not a third option. Hold on one sec. There we go. So, do we give 1 day off for 9 days of work? Or do we just keep working? And this is very similar to barter rights, where it's where it costs something for morale. So it looks like that's what we're going to do. A new work schedule. So if we take a look at the regulation here it is. Fixed rest day and regular breaks. So if we take a look at a workforce here, it's 80% of the original 100. But it's also a nice boon to morale. So we get 13 from barter rights and regular breaks. Huge mineral deposit. So that is the valley fully explored. We'll head over to the shoreline. Group of travelers, 9. Oh, that's a lot of them. All right, bring you in. For now, they're just going to be field camp workers. And results are in. They graduated. Nice. So let's keep... Oh, that's coal. Analyzing the last deposit. Hopefully it's 10. I really like mines to have 1 of everything. So that way, at any point, the mine can shift over from one metal to another if we fill up on a specific metal. As far as our progress to the next cycle, we need a population of 90. So we're getting kind of close. We already have the knowledge needs met. The other things I have not yet set up yet would be a kill yard. I don't really have need for vegetables at the moment because we are feeding people with fried meat and mushrooms. The advantage of the kill yard... So there's a disadvantage of the kill yard when you're making vegetables, which is that it doesn't work in the winter. So it suffers the same penalty as the mushrooms do, but it doesn't produce as many resources as the mushrooms. So I don't find kill yards to be particularly useful. Later on, you do get access to greenhouses, which are somewhat of a labor-efficient way to farm. That also doesn't use soil fertility because they're in a built greenhouse. We'll get to that possibly later, but my point is there's a reason I haven't built the kale yard. It's because I really wouldn't benefit from that at all yet. I'm trying to think if there's other things that I have overlooked. I think I've built everything else that we have access to. Different meals do have different morale boosts, yes. So I don't yet have kitchens. Kitchens comes a little bit later. I think it's beyond what I can see. But eventually you get the ability to cook something other than the simple meals. And there is actually a third tier that is not introduced into the game yet. So there's a simple meals, filling meals, simple meals, fine meals, and filling meals. And filling meals don't exist yet, which was really confusing to me because I was like, the tech tree is like, oh, you unlock filling meals. And I was like, no, I didn't. I couldn't find it anywhere. It doesn't exist. So there are some incomplete things right now. But for the most part, the game is quite playable, despite the fact that there's some aspects that are missing. Oh, so I didn't get lucky. The third vein was iron. So it's iron, coal, and copper. That's fine. I wouldn't mind trying to find tin. So I'm going to set up another mine over here. I can't get all I can't get all of them in one. So I'll set up a 3 and a 2. I would just like to find a source of tin so that I have at least the ability to source one of every type of metal that we're going to need. I don't need to start exploiting these things till a bit later because I'm not using these metals yet. And pretty soon we'll have 2 new regions explored, meaning that we can set up watchtowers to increase immigration. Okay, arrived in the forest. So logs, meat, and water. So we'll set up the watchtower for the immigration effects, and then start scouting the individual spots for resources. Alright, quick question for you guys. How many regions should I exploit? Or explore/exploit? Cap it at 5 or cap it at 10? I don't really want to go above 10 because if you just continue to explore, you just constantly get pop-ups and it just muddles up the game and the flow a little bit unnecessarily for streaming purposes. Like, if I was playing on my own, I would just keep doing it and min-maxing everything. But, we'll have you guys decide that. Here we go. Outer awareness is now up to 30. So we are driving immigration. Clothes storage is maxed. Let's raise that up to 2K max. And simple meals is very close to its maximum, so I'm going to raise it up to 10K. As you may have noticed, I find storage to be dirt cheap. Costs basically nothing to build stockpiles, so you might as well just stockpile a ridiculous amount of stuff. I mean, there's truly no penalty to do it like that. Alright, so now that it's winter, let's go ahead and get all of the mushroom gatherers and put them in as fishermen. Done. Oh, one thing to note is if you misclick, if I sent the wrong scout to explore, there's no cancel. Also, if I click recall, I can't tell them not to. So be careful when you select the scouts to do certain things, because if you have if your scouts are on opposite ends of the region and you tell a scout down here to then go explore something way up in the northwest region, they will take 40 days to get there, and there's no one doing that other than save scumming. So I think that's worth noting. As you can see, they're moving to the province, and I can't stop them. They just go. All right, so you guys want me to cap at 10. Got it. Will do. So, shoreline is established with another watchtower. And the forest, I think that just got built. Yeah. So you have watchtowers in 4 regions now. We are barely producing more food than we are eating, however. So we can either make another soup kitchen, or I can reduce the food supply from double to extra. It's a hit of 5 morale, but it saves us a considerable amount of food. I'm not going to change that yet. Like, I don't really need to yet. But it's something to consider once we are in a net negative food meal per day situation. Especially if labor to employ more soup kitchen workers is limited. Alright, so this mine, let's poke around and hope that we get tin. Now, I like to have 4 mines on the home tile, 1 for each resource, and maybe even a 5th mine that you can spool up if there's shortages. There are ways to get iron outside of mines from the surface resources. So from the gathering camps, you can collect iron, which is a way to sort of supplement the amount of iron that you have if you're running low on iron ore. But I do think that a good goal is to have like at least 1 mine per type of ore that you're using, unless you're importing a lot of it from the region map, because that's also a possibility. So we did get tin. So here is tin, a tin deposit. So we have access to all ore types. I am not actually cooking fish meals, no. I'm just stockpiling fish so that if I run out of mushrooms, I can change over to fish. You collect a lot more mushrooms per day than fish, so I usually just... Yeah, exactly this. I usually just grab a whole bunch of fish when the mushroom workers can't work, and then go back to mushroom gathering, because mushroom gathering is just so much more efficient. We also just got a bunch of children aged up, so I'm actually going to start running this mine for copper, so that we can start to gather copper. So I'm going to track copper like this. Copper there. Yeah. Copper, iron, and put all the ores there. Highlights. We had 1 lightning strike, but no one died. Solid. Now mine can employ 1 more craftsman, so I'll try to train another one. Hey, Moist Pineapple Pizza. Thank you for the resub, and welcome. But what is this scout doing? Come on, scout. Oh, this report was like hidden from me. Come on. When the game is paused, you can't pan this map, which is weird, and I often forget that. I don't know why the map is unpannable when you pause. Seems like a bit of an oversight. So we are very close, 3 population away from entering next cycle, which introduces glass and copper and bronze and wires and a bunch of other lovely, lovely technology. Morale is ridiculously high thanks to the replenishment spring. Peeps are happy. Come on, craftsman. Graduate! Yay! And now that mine is going. So at any point, I can just change whatever ore that they grab very easily, as you can see. There's no, like, ramp up, ramp down time. It's just instant, which is quite nice. I'm maxed on paper. Oh. Alright, let's raise the paper cap. Paper, you end up burning a lot of paper when you unlock new research, so having like 10k paper is actually kind of a good thing, because when you enter a new cycle, you're going to use almost all of it very quickly. How do I know if I have homeless peeps? So there's a few different ways to find that out. One is simple math. Each of these original shacks, can house 10. So I actually do have some homeless peeps. But the easy way to look at it is to go to the worker class to see housing. So I've only fulfilled actually 80% of their housing needs. So thanks for pointing that out. I kind of forgot that, I need to build houses. So I need 2 more residences to raise our cap up to up a little bit more. You didn't want to be oblivious? No, I was the oblivious one. All right, shoreline is fully done. Let's go seaside. And forest is fully done. So let's go the other highlands. Yeah, I was missing out on some morale and entertainment that I was, There we go. So now I'm housing everyone. We have 3 spots left. Oh, a building on fire. So there's some choices here to be made. I can do a full response. So that removes the ongoing fire. It reduces workforce for all classes for 3 days by 40, which is pretty significant. Basically, everybody stops what they're doing to put out the fire. There's a balanced response, which removes the ongoing fire and reduces the workforce by 15, or do nothing. And the fire is ongoing, and it risks the fire to spread. So you guys can vote on that. A full response, a balanced response, or a do-nothing response. Me weighing in, most of the time a balanced response is fine. And that's what looks like you guys are voting on. So what will happen is you'll have some people deployed using water to put the fire out. And then if we take a look at the ongoing effects here, we have a minus 15 workforce. So one thing to note, and this is a game mechanic that I kind of like, I guess, is that if you have enough workforce effects, like let's say we did a full response instead of a balanced response, we would have a situation where like this smith would not be producing anything. Because right now it only has a net workforce of 25. If we did a full response, it would have a net workforce of 0. And we would need to employ more people for it to even do anything. So the ramifications of, and it also looks like the fire did spread, so rip. The ramifications of workforce is that in a lot of ways, it makes more sense to have fewer production facilities that are highly efficient that switch between products than a bunch of partially staffed work facilities. So that means that, like, if we have a kiln here that can produce, let's say, glass and cement, it makes more sense to switch between bricks and glass for the added micromanagement than to have 2 kilns with half staff, because 2 kilns with half staff barely do anything, right? Like that produces 1 a day versus 11 a day. So it's just important to keep that in mind, because as you tech up, you get the opportunity to have very highly efficient, but also very expensive production facilities, and balancing between the products they produce, switching them back and forth, is, I think, kind of probably the way to go. Well, I'm glad we have a lot of stockpiled food, because we aren't cooking anything right now. Also, I find it really funny that we have a rainstorm during during that event. And believably, I need more stockpiles. We're going to have to replace these soup kitchens. Sometimes you can repair them if they're not too far gone. Like this one is repairable, whereas the other one got fully destroyed. Okay. Kitchens are back up and running. So we'll see the simple meal production jump back up in a minute, now that things aren't on fire. Now I do see that my leather is maxed out. I did mention this before, but leather is not one of those things that you kind of run out of as you hunt. So I'm not going to bother raising the cap for leather. I'm good at having it sit at 2K. I don't want to tie up my my stockpiles with any more leather than that. I think while I wait for the my population to hit for the next cycle, I'm going to continue building mines to see what resources there are for me to exploit. Because as I said, I find it fairly useful to have 1 mine per type of resource that you need. So having at least 4 mines is kind of ideal to make sure that your copper, iron, tin, and coal is well supplied. And let's actually start mining coal. So I'm going to track it here. I'm going to track it back here. So this will be coal, iron, copper. Oh, wow. And this uncharted territory has iron, copper, tin, and coal to be mined. Dang, that is a rich territory. Oh, I should have gone there first. Oh well. A rich terrain. Do the mines deplete? They do. They do, but not like within a reasonable amount of time. As you can see, there's a lot of available resources there. So it's not one of those situations where you're likely to actually functionally deplete them. Yeah. So it's not something to worry about, really. And there is technology to allow you to dig your mining pits deeper later on as well, giving you access to deeper resources. The same is true of water as well. So these new mines I've turned off, so they're not using power. I'm just setting up the mine so I can do the deposit analysis. Got to get out my prospecting pick. So, iron, copper, coal. So, this one near the western, let's call it, exit, is coal only. 2 nodes of coal, which is fine. Once we have coal generators, that will actually be kind of nice to have a dedicated coal one. So this is... So we only have this one that can do tin. This is the only mine that has access to tin so far. But we could do like copper, tin, iron, and coal. So now we have 4 mines, 1 of each type of material, which is exactly what I was after. Okay. Here, 2 meat for 1 iron ore. Bye-bye. I like to dismiss them that way. Be like, yeah, we traded, right? Goods were exchanged. Sorta. Huge mineral deposit. And I'll set up the watchtower there to increase immigration. And we're about to get to the highlands. We'll set up another watchtower for immigration. So this has lots of stuff. This is a very resource-rich region as well. So with those 2 watchtowers established, we have great attraction. So yeah, our immigration numbers should be as good as ever. We only really need 3 more adults to be able to hit next cycle, so that should happen any minute now. It does seem like my soup kitchens aren't keeping up with demand, so I'm going to build another soup kitchen. And then possibly move some... Oh, these woodcutters are literally not doing anything, because there's no wood left in the range. So, there's my soup kitchen workers, I suppose. I will need some woodcutters, though. And these iron mine workers are out of iron mine. So this iron node is out. So I can actually delete this node because it's not coming back. It's just a visible residual blob that doesn't have resources left. And these woodcutters, wow, I've not been managing my camp workers at all. Those woodcutters were out of materials as well. So let's figure out where I can employ some woodcutters to make sure that our wood needs are well met. There we go. And I suppose, you know, I have a lot of mushrooms. I'll just do 2 things of mushroom soup and 1 thing of fried meat. So the simple meal quantity should go back up. So seaside is done. We'll head to the lowlands. I think that will be my 7th region. So I'm only going to do 10, just because of how easy it is to exploit regions for no cost. Another thing I could do is to fire some of my lumber mill workers, because we have a lot of paper. Because I just haven't hit the next cycle population numbers. And that would save on the wood logs. But we're actually replenishing wood logs now. Trees do regrow, but pretty slowly. It is... Oh, I'm going to pause and adjust the mushroom collectors. Trees do regrow, but pretty slowly. They do regrow fastest on this biome, which is the meadows. But it's pretty easy to get trees from regional resource exploitation, or alternatively through orchards. Although the orchards do not give you trees quickly. They're very, very inefficient and slow, and water intensive. How's my day so far? Pretty good. How about yours, Cactus? Alright, Highlands are fully explored, so Mountain will be next. I need one more pop to hit next cycle. That's torture. That is just torture. Come on. We had a low birth year, so only 2 of the 2 children aged up to adults. Another thing worth noting is like these no access to the roads warnings. The warnings I find are often wrong. In other words, so like there's a warning here. Well, okay, that warning is true. There is no water in that water table. This warning, on the other hand, said that this didn't have access to the road network, but it does. My only point is, like, there's some bugginess with the warning systems, so it's kind of unfortunate because a lot of red herring warnings means that, like, you tend to just not... You tend to just ignore all warnings as a net result, which means that the system doesn't really work as intended. We have passed 10,000 knowledge. Nice. And quite the sum of paper, too. Oh, the smoke thickens. The air is burning our throats. The sky is reddening. What are we going to do? We need to remain calm. And we are about to hit our 100k. I'll probably keep the water cap at 100k. I think it would be silly to go beyond that. We observed a large fire in the distance, Chief. We are unfortunately familiar with this situation. Though severely diminished, our species is still the main cause of these fires. We can't say when of it will be extinguished, if it will spread to us, or if we can even intervene. However, it is certain that we'll be exposed to dense smoke and all the hazard it carries. We can take some precautions or accept whatever fate brings us. So we can stay indoors and avoid exposure, which reduces the amount of health impact, but also heavily reduces the workforce for all classes. Or ignore it and get real unhealthy and crank up the fire probability. An additional factor here is that we're in the middle of a winter. It's almost spring. I mean, it is almost spring in like a day or two. But we're in the middle of the winter, and the winter carries health impacts already. So compiling health impacts from wildfire health impacts could cause a wave of illness. But it looks like you guys want me to stay indoors to limit the health impact from the smoke. But it's pretty cool. I do like the look of the embers. And then also staying indoors prevents fires from breaking out. So up here, fires are brought under control before they occur. But meat production efficiency drops, kale yard and farm efficiency drops. But at least people are a little bit happier as a result. So there's a little bit of a morale bonus from protective restrictions. Iron, copper, tin, and coal. Cool. Which scout was that? One here? Yep. Alright, I'm going to make sure I didn't miss any watchtowers. Yeah, no, I got them all. Good. Thank you for tuning in to New Cycle, which originally streamed live on Twitch January 30th. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to Discord, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you in next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Solar Flare survivors.